Shalom, everybody. We're going to be reading from the Haftarah of Acharei, which is Amos, chapter 9, 7 to 15. If anyone wants to raise a hand or draw on the screen, here's how you can do it. Who would like to read first? Cheryl, looks like you have your hand up. Go ahead. Turn your mic on.
Thank you for the reminder. Halo kivnei kushiim, atem li bnei Yisrael, ne'um Adonai. Halo et Yisrael, העליתי מארץ,
Tere.
העליתי מארץ מצרים, ופלישתים, hold on, ופלישתיים,
That's it.
מכפתור וארם מקיר.
Excellent reading.
Thank you.
Halo chivnei chushim. Oh, sorry, chushiyim. See, I did the same thing.
פושעים.
אתם לי, בני ישראל, נאום אדוני, הלא את ישראל העליתי מארץ מצרים, ופלישתים מכפתור, וארם מקיר. Well, that's a weird way to start. We did skip the first 6 verses. Amos chapter 9 is about the surety of the destruction that God is bringing about. And then the second half, the lion's share of which we will be reading, is the promise of restoration. So it'll end on a high note, but this is continuing to talk about the surety of God's destruction. Kivnei, let me start off with something easy. Where is Eretz Mitzrayim? I said it'd be easy. Nobody? It says right here. Of
Egypt.
course, of course, of course. Now a little bit harder. Where is kaftor, especially in modern Hebrew?
Um, uh, just north starts with an A. Amon, just to that area from the north, but it doesn't go all the way to Mesopotamia, and then it swings down to.
Kaftor is Cyprus,
Oh,
the island in the middle of the Mediterranean. The Philistines are from Kaftor. What? Well, according to this, it is. The Philistines were probably part of who are called the Sea People, who invaded the land long ago, so much so that the Hittites and the Egyptians, sworn enemies, made a truce, in order to try to fight off the Sea People. So anyway, those are the Plishtim. The invaders is what the word means. The Aram, you can see this looks like Aramean, but they're calling it the Syrians. It's because the Arameans were originally from the east and then moved. Scratch that. The Arameans were originally from the west and moved east. We think of Aramean in the time of Daniel and Aramaic speaking Babylon. But here they're still in the west. Where is Kir? That I don't know. I don't know where Kir is located. And who are the Kushim?
descendants of Cush.
Do you remember who had a Cushite wife?
Moses, didn't he?
Moses.
Moses did. Moses did. So same word. Let's see. Forgive me, it's been a hard day for teaching and my voice is starting to go out. He'eleti. What kind of a verb is this?
Tahithia
What does that mean?
means you're causing something to happen to someone.
Good. What is being caused?
To bring up.
Right, to ascend.
Mhm.
Causing to ascend, and then the T at the end says who did it? I did. I caused to ascend, or I brought up Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Okay, questions on this?
Just theological questions. If he also brought up the Philistines and the Arameans, I don't get that verse at all when I read through it.
Well, okay, so going through the previous several verses, this is pejorative in nature. God is not happy.
He's my brother.
We're going to see in a bit how God's like, I just want to wipe you all out, well, except for a little remnant,
Have
much
to,
like much like he did during the time of Moses. Moses, get out of the way. I'm going to destroy all them and start over with you. He's like, no, 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 no.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's God's not happy here because of the sinful acts and lack of loyalty of the children of Israel. So now he's comparing the sons of Israel to all these other nations, which is, I don't know, feels kind of like a slap in the face. It's like, well, yeah, I guess if we were sinful, it kind of demands that.
Now it makes sense to me. Thank you.
Tim, you had your hand up earlier. Do you want to read?
I do, but I have a question on Hey Elati.
Uh-huh.
That that first when I first look at that, reflecting on our previous discussion about plural, does this not make that plural? But first common singular, but um,
No,
does that not apply?
the yod and the hey, and in fact the vowels right there, and the vowel right there, all of these things that I've now circled in orange are clues that this is, as Cheryl said, a heath eel causative verb. And so, no, the yod here does not in any way imply plural anything.
Okay.
The yod is actually, I'm sorry, the yod, I said that wrong. No, I didn't. Maybe I did. Okay, so there is supposed to be a yod here, but there's also a third root letter yod, so it's kind of a toss up which one it is. Um, let's just go with the hay and the segol. That's our main indicator that we're looking at a hue feel. My guess is that this is, I don't know, the toss up.
It almost seems like it's uh, keeping the same A sound through the word just for
Oh, like a
the,
vowel
yeah.
harmonization.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking
I
for.
think if somebody forced me to give an answer, I would say that the chirik of he feel is probably locked into the tsere here, and that this is more or less the third root letter yod
Okay.
that turned into a vowel letter. But I can't prove that. All right. Tim, do you want to read?
Sure. I just have a question before we begin. This example gives us Adonai, Adonai. What is the proper? What
Elohim.
is the proper one again?
So the chirik underneath the vav is the sole indicator to us that this should be pronounced as Elohim, and traditionally an
Ah,
English translation will write it as all capital letters God, as opposed to all capital letters Lord. So if it were Adonai in any other place, did we have it? Did we have it here?
Yeah, over
Oh yeah,
here.
here it is. Okay, there we go. So usually Yod He Vav He is Lord cap all caps, but when preceded by the actual word Adonai, that's in lowercase, and God is in all caps. So it should be Adonai Elohim.
okay.
Alternatively, people will say Adonai Hashem, but nobody that I know pronounces it the way Yod He Vav He was originally pronounced.
Okay. Going through this
That's
earlier,
not true. That's not true. I know some people that'll pronounce it differently.
well, when I make mistakes, I'll be doing it differently. Okay, okay, okay. Hine, Ene, Adonai Elohim, Bamamlacha, Hahata'a, Vehismati, Ota, Neal, Pane, Ha'adama, Epes, Kilo, Pani, Kilo, Hasmed, Azmid, Et, Bet, Ya'achub Ne'um Adonai.
That's it. Very good. That's verse 8. Hine Eine Adonai Elohim Bamamlacha Hachata'a Vehishmadti Otah Me'al Pnei Ha'adama Efes Ki Lo Hashmed Et Beit Yaakov Ne'um Adonai. Looks like two contradictory statements here, but we can find solace in this fact. Behold the eyes of the Lord, that is Yod He Vav He, Bamamlecha, are on the kingdom, and then it has Ha Chata'a, the sinful one. Vehishmadti, because of the He and the IE vowel right there, we know this is also causative, he feel. The root is shamad, it has to do with destruction. And wait a second, usually when there's a T at the end, that means I did it. But here it says I will destroy. That's because we have Vekatal Vav at the front. It's flipping the tense. And I will destroy Otah. There's your definite direct object marker with a suffix on the end referring back to her. Back to what? Her. Refess.
When you have the Vav conjunction, is that also referred to as a Vav consecutive?
No, if it's just a conjunction, then it should be conjunctive Vav. But if it's flipping the tense, then it's called either consecutive Vav, Vav consecutive, reversing Vav. What was the other one? Yeah. There are other names. Whatever.
Would we need a yod? Would we need a yod in that or not? To flip the tense.
No, the Vav does that.
Oh, okay.
Are you thinking of Vayiktol?
I'm trying to figure either one of them out. That's
So,
I don't
so
fully understand.
sure. So think of the grammar term katal. That's a word that refers to all completed tense verbs that have a suffix conjugation.
Mhm.
As soon as you add a conversive vav to it, it flips the tense and turns he did it into and he will do it.
Ah, right. Okay.
Same
Okay.
thing with yiktol. Yiktol means he essentially will do or will be doing something. And when you add the vav patach dagesh to the front, it flips it to narrative past. And he did something. So that's why both of these, they both go by the name reversing vav because they take what was there and flip it on its head.
Good.
So that's why it's translated, and I will destroy her, me'al pnei ha'adama, from upon the face of the land or the earth. Ephes, literally, we think of maybe that being the number zero, but it has the idea of however, but, saving, except for, kilo hashmed ashmid. All right, let's look at this word right here. Who's the built-in subject?
I.
With an aleph on the front, it's I. I will ashmid. That's also he feel. It's just a yiktol, and like an incompleted or future tense. Versus up here with the hey at the front, it's past tense or completed. Well, except the vav flipped it. So besides that, but what's going on here? Hashmed ashmid. What is hashmed? It seems to be the same root.
It's an infinitive absolute, tautological thing, I think.
You're using some pretty expensive words here. What does that mean?
It's like an intensive utterance of something like, I will definitely not destroy all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Most
emphasizing.
certainly
Yeah,
won't destroy.
there you go, adding certainty to it. And destroying, I will destroy. Wait, there's a low in front. Not utterly destroy.
Yeah.
So the I that the translator put right here actually belongs over here. Destroying, I will not destroy, or I will not utterly destroy. Et Beit Yaakov, the house of Jacob. Ne'um Adonai, oracle or declaration of the Lord. Technically not a verb, the noun, declaration of the Lord. Okay, comments or questions on this verse here?
Yes, the that I do that I will utterly. So if we eliminated the hay, and we had a big, this is how Shannon Schaefer talks about it, the big kamatz under the shin, and then a patak under the third root letter. Would that make it an infinitive as opposed to a tautological infinitive? Would that just be an infinitive absolute form?
I
Or am
understand.
I off?
No, I understand your question. The flaw is simply that each one of the binyanim, especially the seven major binyanim, each one of them has its own infinitive form, its own absolute infinitive form. So if we're talking about the run-of-the-mill kal verb, then let's take a word like shin mem resh. It would be sha more. That would be the infinitive. That means to guard, and which can be used to add certainty, like certainly so and so or such and such is guarding or did guard or something else. Your conjugated verb would be adjacent to this intensifier, but this infinitive is the intensifier. Well, that's your kal binyan, your pa'al or kal or whatever. This one up here is the hif'il. So they are both infinitive absolutes, but they look nothing alike because they're from two different families. They're from two different binyanim.
Okay.
And every binyan will have its own infinitive form, its own infinitive pattern.
So when Cheryl said tautological, I was trying to reduce that to single term infinitive absolute and what that would look like. That's what I was thinking.
Tautological is apparently just, it means adding certainty.
But
Adding,
that's usually with a an expressive term of the verb of the
you
direct
mean,
verb, right?
you mean having a fully conjugated verb next door?
Yeah, so it's usually two
Absolutely.
words.
Oh, no, it is. In the tautological use, there has to be a conjugated verb next to it. See, in contradistinction to that tautological usage, having the infinitive by itself would be a different usage, and it would usually represent, language of the law or something like that. Think of the commandment to keep or guard the Shabbat. In both of the places where it shows up in the Bible, both in Exodus and Deuteronomy, it shows up as shamol v'zachol, and both of them are infinitives.
Mhm.
So how are we supposed to translate them? Well, apparently God's telling his people to do these things. So let's say, thou shalt keep and remember the Sabbath day. And so that would be language of the law usage of the infinitive, whereas next door, adjacent to a conjugated form, that's the tautological or certainly usage of the infinitive. Those are pretty much the only two usages of the infinitive in early biblical Hebrew. Later on, we get to see more usages of the infinitive where it actually takes the place of conjugated verbs. Even in modern times, you'll see the infinitive used like for telling someone to do something or don't do something. Yesh lishmor et hasheket. Yesh, it is. Lishmor, to guard. Granted, it's an infinitive construct, but bear with me. Et hasheket, the silence. It is imperative to keep silent. It's a weird way to give a command, but that's how you would say it in modern Hebrew to be polite, rather than you shut up. That's not very polite. Can't do that. And let's see. All right. Any other questions on this one? All right. Who would like to read the next one? Gabi,
Yeah.
Bakasha.
כי הנה אנוכי מצווה בחניותי בכל הגויים את בית ישראל כאשר ינוע ברא ולא ייפול צרור הארץ.
Very good.
Thank
כי
you.
הנה אנוכי מצווה והניעותי בכל הגויים את בית ישראל כאשר ינוע בקברה ולא ייפול צרור הארץ. All right, so it sounds like we're starting to get into the encouraging part of this reading. And for, or because, what we read earlier, behold, I am commanding. Technically, this is, let me ask you, this is not a future tense. What is it?
It's a participle.
So usually some sort of an ongoing action. Either I will be commanding, I am commanding, or I was commanding, depending on the context. And so it's like, behold me commanding. Look over here, I'm doing it. Vahani'oti b'chol hagoyim et Beit Yisrael. Now, this is not a common verb, but I want you guys to kind of parse it out. Help me out here. What's the root, the binyan, the built-in subject, the form, anything you can tell me about it?
I look at it, I think I try to put it in the infinitive form, like lahaniot or lahanot. So that makes me think it's he feel.
The
Like,
the hay is a he feel hay.
okay, and hanioti, and I'm doing it the te, the taf at the end.
Tav Chirik Yod says I,
Mhm.
subject.
And va is probably a vegetal because hey is a guttural, so it can't take
Shva.
schwa. Yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah, you
that
can't have
makes
two
sense.
reduced vowels, so it
Uh,
lengthens. So that makes it a vekatal, future tense.
yeah, haniot, hanioti.
The only thing left is the root.
Na, haniot. Na means move, and it's to sift, so it's probably related to noon. There's no geshim, but you can't take it to hanioti. And noon ein yod or
What's the root of this one?
vav vav ein. Noon vav
That's what it looks like. Nun, vav, ayin.
ein.
All right, so nun, vav, ayin. Now, do the same thing for this one.
Yiptol,
Okay, yiktol, because of the yod.
Yinoah.
And the yod also says 3ms.
Mm-hmm.
Binyan.
Yinoah. Would that be Kal? I don't know.
That helps.
Is sifted.
So the ow sound right here shifted into O. So try and imagine there being a triplet here. Ia, ia.
Nifal.
I think it is Nifal. I would have to double check, but I see how they translated it as a passive, and I see the Chirik and Dagesh, and it makes me think, oh, this is a Yiktol Nifal. But I reserve the right to be wrong. Happens a lot. But yeah, that's what I would go with. I will cause movement bakvara in a sieve. Okay, so this is probably the reason that we can translate these words as sifted, I guess. If we're moving something in a sieve, then we're sifting it. In fact, sieve and sift probably come from the same root. We're causing movement among all the nations, or in all the nations, causing them to move, Beit Yisrael, causing them to move, just as moving about in a sieve. Velo yipol. What's the root of yipol?
Nafal.
Is that also a nifal verb?
Nifalti? I think so.
No.
No?
No, because the root is nafal. It's yin pol.
It is a kal.
It's a kal. The noon assimilated into the pei because that's what noon does at the end of a syllable. Yin pol becomes yip pol. It's a yiktol. Kal. 3ms. He will fall. Velo yipolin. He will not fall. Who will not fall? Srov. Not even a single grain. Aretz, towards the earth. Cool. That shows a lot of care being taken. Questions? I will sift out the house of Israel from among all the nations. Who would like to read the next one? Okay, I will. Bacherev yamutu kol chataei ami haomrim lo tagish v'takdish v'takdim. Hang on. V'takdim ba'adenu hara'ah. We're reading in the prophets now. This isn't easy stuff anymore, is it? Bacherev, with the sword. Yamutu, they shall die. Who? Kol chataei ami, all of the sinners of my people. Oof. Don't be a sinner of his people. Ha'omrim, the ones who are saying, this is a participle, the ones who are saying, lo tagish. I'm trying to figure out what, I guess the subject is all the way over here. The evil will not take over, they say. The takdim, they call it preventing, ba'adenu, against us. So the new is referring to us. The evil won't overtake us. Whoosh. All right. Any questions on here? All right. Who wants to read? You can go again.
I'll go if no one else
Okay,
jumps
go ahead.
in.
Gabi, I do see your hand is up. Does that mean you still want to read?
Oh no, I'll just lower it right now. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay, Cheryl, go ahead.
I love this verse. Bayom hahu akim et sukat David hanofelet vegadarti et pirtzehen והריסותיו אקים ובניתיה כימי עולם.
Very good. And why do you like this verse?
Because it's talking about a restoration of something from the time of David. The Sukkot David was it was a tent that he put up on Mount Moriah, I think. where he would praise the Lord and just commune with him. And it speaks about worship of the Lord. It also speaks about intimacy with the Lord, and that God said he's going to restore that.
This is quoted in the New Testament. Where?
Mm. Ah, Revelation?
Does anyone remember? I thought it was in the book of Acts. All right. If anyone looks it up and lets me know.
Oh, I think you're right. I think when they're quoting, and someone is quoting, yeah.
ביום ההוא אקים את סוכת דוד הנופלת. In that day, or in the day that one, Akim, I will, Kifil, cause to stand. Kum, I will raise up. What will I cause to stand? Sukat David, the temporary dwelling or structure of David, the one that you said he set up so that he could worship the Lord on Mount Moriah. Hanofelet. That sounds like a little bit of a like an indictment. Why is the Sukat David fallen? Is nobody maintaining it? Is nobody using it? Is no one praising the Lord in it? V'gadarti et pirtzehen. Not gadar. Ged is not geder. What's the word for a boundary? Geder. Can't remember what it is now. Sorry, but basically, to close up, not really insightful. I will close up et pirtzehen. Who is Peretz? The one that beat his brother to birth. Remember, there was Peretz and Zerach, right? Wasn't the two brothers that were born of Judah and Tamar? So Peretz is the one that broke out before his brother. So breakout is a Peretz. Pirtzehen, her or their breaches, I will close up. Vaharisotav, laharos is to, I hate using the word destroy because it's so general. Destruction, really. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I see the word ruin there. I guess it's okay. What is it? Harus, haros. No, that's a different word. And laharos is to destroy of some kind. Her destroyings, akim or ruins, I will raise up. Uvenitiha. Ooh, we're gonna have to parse this one out. Himei olam. What? Yeah, let's parse this out. Tell me anything you can about it. Uvenitiha. Root, form, uh, built-in subject.
Nobody?
Nobody?
Okay, and I think u is a conjunctive there. And beniti, bean is the root. It
How about bana?
uvana.
Yeah.
Bana is the root.
Bean is understand, right?
Bean
So,
is understanding. Bana is build.
okay, uvaniti ha. So that's I.
Right? He says I.
So it is, I think it might be a vegetal because I will build.
Right? It hasn't been built yet, so it
No.
must still be future.
Uvaniti,
So what's the ha?
her, it,
It.
the
They put it
suka.
all the way over here. Exactly. It's referring to her.
Mhm.
He may, as the days of olam, vanishing point, days of old, if you will. That's it.
So baniti would be I built,
Yes.
but because the vegetals they changed it to a sikol because of the stress.
Hang on, there's no segol here. What are you talking about? It should be
Or no,
ba.
well, I meant a shva.
Okay, so the form should be baniti,
Mhm.
but here, because it's too far away from the stress, it turns into uvanitiha. The stress moved, so it reduced your kamatz.
Because it's a vekatol, the stress is down there. Yeah, okay.
Um, while I want to agree with you, it would do the same thing in a katal verb if it had the pronominal suffix.
Oh, okay.
If I wanted to say I built her, it would still be benitiha.
Okay.
So either way,
Okay.
all right, let's see. I am
I
Annie, would you like to read the next verse?
yes.
Go ahead.
למען ירשו את שארית אדום וכל הגויים אשר נקרא שמי עליכם נאום אדוני עושה זאת.
Very good. Excellent. למען yireshu, audible shva, yireshu et she'erit edom, v'chol hagoyim asher nikra shmi alehem. An interesting bit right there. Ne'um Adonai oseh zot. All right. In the previous verse, it was, I'm going to build up the fallen tent. And then here we say, lema'an, for the sake of, with the intention of, yireshu. Who's the subject? Yod at the front, u at the end. It must be they. Who's they? Who will possess et she'erit Edom? Who will possess the remnant of Edom? Well, what did we read in the was it here? Akim Sukkot Aviv. I think it's still talking about Beit Yaakov, the house of Jacob, in order that they may possess the remnant of Edom. Where is Edom geographically?
The Red Sea.
Edom moved
South.
Mount Seir. It's basically going to be south of and east of, well, I guess it's more southeast of the Dead Sea. And what would be today modern Jordan.
Petra
Right.
area.
All the way down to Aqaba. Sea of Aqaba. V'chol hagoyim. Okay, so the remnant of Edom and all the nations. And then it says, Asher nikra shmi alehem. Okay, nikra shmi alehem. This is Nifal. He or they are called shmi, my name, alehem, upon them. Who? Who has God's name upon them?
You do. I do. I think the people here that
When
are
I
listening.
first read this, I'm reading V'chol hagoyim. It means all of the nations that are called by my name. And I'm like, what nations are called by his name? Huh, how about that? Ne'um Adonai, declaration of the Lord, the one oseh, doing this. Wow,
Hmm.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, who would like to read next?
Hmm.
Are there other options like you read and I follow, or it's fine?
Of course,
I'll read this.
absolutely.
I'll try it.
Well, hang on. Leanne, would you like that I read word by word and you repeat?
Maybe I can figure it out. Let's see.
Go ahead. Don't worry, Tim. I'll give you the next one.
Yeah, that's fine.
He not not
Okay. Hine. Yeah, this guy right here.
Nay. Yeah.
Look, some people will disagree about how to pronounce it. I teach my students to make more of an A sound.
Ine.
Ine.
Yeah. Yim.
Yamim. Both of these together
Yamim.
make they work in tandem. They operate how do I say? It's redundant. Both the chirik and the yod are trying to say the same thing. So make an E sound as in ski. Yamim.
Yamim. Ba. Yim.
Good. It's the same pattern as the other word. Yamim, ba'im.
Barim. Na.
Yeah, na'um.
Naum. Adonai.
Sure. Yeah,
Uh, Rinigash.
that's it. Venigash.
Rinigash. Haro. Rish.
Make that A sound. Choresh.
Reish. Harish. Ba. Ba. Yats.
So Ain and Sadi are very easily confused. Don't worry about it. So Sadi is the TS and Ain is the sound that nobody knows how to make. Here it's
Okay.
a Sadi. So Bakoser.
Ba koser. Va. Ver. Da. Do. Rik.
That's it. Vedorech.
Dorik. And that's the one that nobody knows how to say, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in modern pronunciation, it's treated like an aleph, like a silent letter.
So it's ana be ber berim. No,
What is it?
why don't
What,
I say an R? It's an E sound,
okay,
right?
yep.
E. Na. Why can't my brain do it? Beam.
Mhm.
Beam.
Vim.
Okay,
Right.
beam.
So if it had a dot, it would be the b, and without the dot, it's v. Anavim. I'm really impressed so far. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, because I really did want to come to class. Thanks. I'm glad I did. Okay. Um, when in doubt, leave it out, right?
Uh,
Or say this
or
one because
fake it till you make it.
okay. But the Shabbat, do I say it or I don't say it?
I see your question now. When Shva starts a syllable, you hear it, and when it ends a
Okay.
syllable, you don't. So here,
Okay.
starting a word, it's going to start a syllable, so it will be audible.
Okay, so it's be mo sure.
Yeah. But okay,
Moshek.
so I would make it more like a b sound instead of b or ba or something like that.
Okay.
B'moshech, b'moshech.
Be moshek.
Huh?
Hazo haz
Azul.
zara.
Hazara. So we don't.
Azar.
Some people don't learn this until much later on, but these little symbols often tell you where to put the stress. Hazara.
Hazara. Vehe.
E is in ski.
Yes. Vaha. Vahi. Sir.
Nineteen.
Gu. That's
Vehitifu. Vehitifu.
Vehitifu. Mountains. I know this one. That's Marim. That's Marim. No.
I know you know it, but you're rushing it. Go ahead. Read it syllable by syllable. Go consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel.
Ha rim.
hmm
Rim. Ha
Good.
rim.
Only thing is that changes a little bit for
Oh,
reasons. He
he
harim.
He harim.
hmm
Uh that's an S. Ha Se Hasis. Hasis.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Asis. Asis.
Vekal.
This one's the tricky one. It's actually a short O sound. V'chol.
Oh, a hole. Say it again.
So there are two vowels that look the same. There's a
Yeah.
long ah and there's a short O. And knowing how to differentiate the two is a whole lesson, but I'm just giving you the answer. This is a short O, v'chol.
Vehol. Okay. Hag. Varot.
Oh,
Havarot.
ot. Ot.
I put an R in there. Havrot. Ot.
Hagvaot.
Hagvaot. He. He.
hmm
And then leave it out.
Yeah, so this one does come at the end of a syllable. One of the ways to be able to tell is if there's a short vowel preceding it. In this chart down here, I put the short vowels second or in the middle. So anytime you see one of these preceding a schwa, chances are it's a silent schwa. And so here we've got just the chirik. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a silent schwa, so we can put an X over it.
Okay. So it's ha, more, mo, na.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 syllables. The first one has two tabs, so it's teet.
Oh, that's a T. Yeah, T,
The next one is
mo,
mo,
ga,
gag.
gag, na.
Very good. Na. Excellent reading. I'm very happy with how well you've done. You've been studying.
I try. Yes, let's go with that.
What do you use?
The book you told me to get.
Awesome. What book did I tell you to get?
You told me to get this one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good one. The Interlinear Chumash Schottenstein edition, and so that the English is easy to pick out. Excuse me,
Yeah.
the English is right underneath all the Hebrew. And
I
right,
didn't know this was in there. I didn't know it was at the back. I had no idea. And then I shuffled through and I found it. Yeah.
but now
So,
you do, absolutely. So
yeah.
if anyone else has a Chumash, all of the readings that we're doing are at the back in the same order as the Torah readings. Okay, Hine Yamim Ba'im, Ne'um Hashem, or Ne'um Adonai, V'nigash Choresh Bakotzer, V'dorech Anavim, B'moshech Hazara, V'hitifu Heharim Asis, V'chol Hagvaot Titmogagna. And I want to talk about this last verb just a little bit. There's a tav at the front, na at the end. Who's the built-in subject?
It's
Anyone.
they,
It's a question
they.
for anyone. Yeah. So it
They.
appears to be they feminine.
Mhm.
And so who are they specifically?
So referring to the lands, since the lands are plural, the mountains and the hills?
The
Maybe?
hills is
The hills?
The hills.
Hagiv'ah is the singular. Hagva'ot is the plural. V'chol hagva'ot titmogagna. So I think so. This is our feminine plural. All the hills shall melt. Behold, the days are coming. Nigash. So what does this mean that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes? I don't like how they translate this. B'moshech hazara. So Moshech hazara is the one who's pushing forth the seeds. So yeah, I guess they call it the sower of, it's not offspring, sower of seeds. Vehitifu. Is that a taf? Nun tet pe? I wonder if it is.
It's Sifil. The
Oh,
Hatif.
definitely. I'm just trying to figure out the root. Do you know if it's a nun
Oh,
tet pe?
I don't know.
Netifot? Maybe it is. Heharim, the drops of the mountains. Asis. If I'm not mistaken, this is the modern Hebrew word for something being juicy. You bite into a juicy apple, you're like, oh, it's so juicy. That's the root. V'chol hagvoot titmogagna shall melt.
That is a fun word, that word Tit Magagna, for some reason.
Mm.
Just hits me funny.
Yeah.
All right, who would like to read? Maybe who
I have a,
hasn't yet?
I have a
Uh,
quick question for Leanne.
Tim,
Yeah, Leanne, what page are you on?
this,
I'm on 1379.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
all right, next one. Tim, I did promise if you wanted to read, but now I have two volunteers. You mind if they read the last two?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, let's see. So Ashlyn and then Nuria. Ashlyn, you take this one. The last verse will be the next one for Nuria.
Okay. Vashavti et Shavot Ami Yis Yisrael Uvanu Arim Nashamot Ve Vayashvu Vanat U Karamim Vashatu et mm, um could you help me with that one?
Yeah, the syllable division is right here. So here's your tsere yod. Oops. Well, if I can draw on the correct, there we go. So that's your mater vowel.
Okay, Ye Yenam
That's it.
Va'asu um Gan Ganot Va'ak Va'akalu
Mhm.
et Parihim.
Perfect. Very good. Vishavti et shvut ami Yisrael. Uvanu arim nishamot veyashavu v'nat'u chramim v'shatu et yenam v'asu ganot v'achlu et prihem. Let's start with the fun word. What do you make of this?
Puzzle.
Meh,
Meh.
meh.
It's
It's
wine.
wine.
It's their wine.
Good. So it's theirs. Here's your pronominal suffix belonging to them. And here's the word yen. Yen. Wait, what's the usual form of the word for wine?
Yain.
Yeah.
Yin. Uh-huh. What's the usual form of the word for house?
Bait.
And what's the construct form of it?
Bet.
Team. Bate.
Bait.
They. Bait.
It's the same thing. We're taking yayin, turning it into yin. Taking bayit, turning it into bait. It's these two are the same pattern. And now it's just their wine. Vishavti, what's the root of the word vishavti?
Shuf.
Shuv, to come back, to do again, to return, or sorry, to return. Et shvut. Is this the same root?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm,
No.
mm-mm.
Shevi.
What is what is a
Shin
shevi?
bet yod.
Good. So we have a missing yod here, but the root is shevi or shin bet yod, which means to be captive. So the shvut is the captivity. I will return captivity of Ami, my people. So that's why it's the captivity, because this is definite and it's in construct. Which captivity of which my people? Yisrael, of course. Uvanu. Here we have another missing root letter. What's the root?
Bana.
Bana. To build. And because of the shall here, I'm guessing that's a vekatal vav, and they shall, they being the u, build arim, cities, nishamot. Wait a second. Why is this feminine plural?
Cities is.
Because cities is also feminine. Even though it's an irregular, it's feminine. Cities that are wasted. Shamam is the root. I want to make sure I'm saying that right.
Shamim.
Okay, does that make it a Nephal participle? Nishamot. I don't know. That's a weird one for me. I'd have to look it up. Veyashavu. What's weird about this? Veyashavu.
Is it a puzzle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Compare it to this one over here. The u has the stress here. Vayashavu has the stress there. So in what's called pausal form, the stress jumps back and restores the original vowel. So here it's a shva, there it goes to a kamatz, but they're the same form. They're both vekatal recipe. And vayashavu, and they shall dwell or inhabit. V'nata'u, nata is to plant something. Keramim, kerem is the lexical or the dictionary form of the word for vineyard. Vishatu, another root letter is missing.
Ishtot.
So the letter that's missing is a yod. Shata.
Shate.
Shata, shote, shatiti. Very good. And drink, they shall drink et yenam, their wine. The asu, another one's missing. There's another yod. Asa, to do. And they shall make, do. Ganot. What's the root of ganot?
God.
And
Gimel.
then noon.
Gimel nun nun. That's why the nun is reduplicated. And is it masculine or feminine? Ganot.
Masculine.
Think of the singular form. What's the singular form of this word?
Gan.
Gan. It's an irregular plural. It's masculine. Ve'achalu, and they shall eat et rihem. Is this plural?
No.
Peri.
I mean, I'm just noticing that it has the so-called plural suffix ahem. Well, kind of.
Perihim.
Good. So the root of the word pri has a yod already. The yod that we see here is part of the root. It's not plural.
Right.
If it were plural, it would have to be something like prehem instead of prihem.
But it should be their fruit. Right?
Their fruit, yes.
So-
Should be. Correct. Good. Any comments or questions before Nuria reads the last verse?
One comment
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
on Ganot. We have Gimel Noon Vav with the Holam. Is that Holam hay? Is that signifying a hay?
No, the cholam vav tav is the plural. The singular form is gan, and the root is gimel nun nun. It's a masculine plural. It's an irregular masculine plural.
What are the cases where the hay is substituted for? Is there a situation where the hay is substituted with the Vav?
The way you've stated the question, I will answer it with a no, but I understand what you're asking. What you're asking is the hay you see, which is a vestigial leftover of an original yod, showing up as a vav. That much I understand the question that you're asking. And that the answer to that is sometimes. Um, let me reword the question as soon as I come up with a good example. Um, oh, okay. Here we go. Peniel. Anybody know what Peniel is?
Face of God.
Face of God. It's the name of a location that Jacob named it. And there's an alternate pronunciation of it in the same story, Penuel.
Mhm.
Why? Probably because the root is originally Penun Vav and turns into Penun Yod, like Lifnei, for example. Otherwise, the Yod could be reminiscent of what's called an original case ending, face of, and then El, God. Either way, the answer works, but very rarely would I say that Vav and Yod are, no, that's not true. There are lots of Vavs that turn into Yods, but you're asking what Yods turn into Vavs, and that's a harder question. Most of the time, Vavs turn into Yods, not the other way around. Are you thinking, for example, Tim, of like the word leave note, like this, where the root is allegedly bana with a hey at the end, but here it's with a vav?
Well, I'm looking at garden. What is Gana? What is
Nothing.
Gana?
I don't know off the top of my head. The only feminine word I know is a genenet, and that's like a kindergarten teacher.
Okay.
Maybe a gina. No. Sorry, I got nothing. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
But still, when you have a verb, when you have a noun that ends in a kamatz hey and looks feminine, and then its plural form ends in oat, well, that's just the difference between singular and plural. It's not a hey or a yod per se turning into a vav.
Okay.
And all right, somebody else had something to add, wasn't it?
I just had a question on the shin. There were two dots. I don't know what that means. Like right here on the mem, there's two dots above it, vineyards. Like, is that something I will learn later or
So here, is there another one? Here,
yeah.
three of
Yeah.
them. I think that's
That's
all.
an accent.
Okay, so yes, it is a cantillation mark or a trope mark. Um, each one of these symbols serves three functions. Most of them tell you where to put the stress of the word.
Mhm.
All of them tell you how to sing or chant the text. And
Mm.
lastly, the symbols belong to five categories, and each category of symbols tells you how much to pause before the next word. It's essentially a punctuation system, except
Okay.
instead of having commas and periods every so often, every word gets its own punctuation mark. So the one with the two dots typically tells you to give it a little pause. And it's I call it a level 2 out of 5 stop marker. So it's a pretty strong one. Level 1 would be the end of a verse and the halfway point of a verse. So those are the most important ones to learn first. Once you
Okay.
have those two down, then learn the level 2 ones like this one. It's
Okay.
called a zakef katon.
Mhm.
Zakef katon. So, like I said earlier about faking it till you make it, when you're reading, you
Mhm.
see one of these, pause. The rookie will keep reading through one of those pause marks, but someone more experienced will put a little pause there and it sounds more natural. And,
Okay.
all right, next and final verse. Go ahead, Nuria.
Yeah. Une, une
Hmm.
au admatam below inat shu od meal admatam asher Natati Latem Amar Adonai Elohim. Elohecha.
Absolutely perfect reading with one teeny tiny exception. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Could you read this one again?
Natati.
Very good. That time it was perfect. The first time you put the stress on the end, and the second time you put it here. Now, anyone who can learn from this, there's a cantillation mark. It tells you where to put the stress. Absolutely wonderful. And I don't have to, but I'll go ahead and read it another time if anyone wants to follow along. Unetatim al admatam. And there's our halfway point, logical halfway point of the verse because of that thing called the netnach or etnachta. Velo yinatashu od. Now this one's a slight pause right there. Me'al admatam asher natati lahem. And there's that bigger pause again. Amar Adonai Elohecha. And all right, I want to talk. Well, no, that's too hard. No, it's not. Let's talk about this one right here. Can we parse it out? Binyan, root, form, built-in subject. Help me break this word up into its individual components.
Oh, that's got to be a vegetal.
Okay.
And it goes from the because of the shva. And
That's right.
nata is plant, to plant the root.
Nata is our root. Nata is the plant.
And I will plant them. Natati, I will plant, or I will plant in the I guess, I don't know, is the dagesh in the tav a doubling dagesh or
Oh
just
no. No, it's
okay.
preceded by a shva. It's a silent shva.
So it's them. And I
Yeah.
don't, yeah.
Good. So let's start with the end first. Refers to them, 3MP, them, those guys over there. It's the combination of T and U from which we can derive that it is vekatal, which means it's got a suffix on the end, but it's actually future. And then, as you said, the root is nata, to plant. And I, T, will, U, plant, nata, them, and I will plant them. Wow. So cool how Hebrew works. Al admatam. Here we have another suffix, their adama. Adama has a T, a tav in it? Well, the original form does, yeah. And you get to see it come back in these construct forms. Oh, somebody taught me recently this right here. Can someone read that for me?
In English or in Hebrew?
No, in English.
Potato.
Potato.
Very good. Very good.
Haftarah.
Have you all noticed that we don't pronounce the T? Ha potato.
Potato.
We don't say hot potato. We say hot.
Unless you're from Canada and then you do.
Of course. Anyway, the point is that even in French, definitely, in Greek, definitely, the T at the end went silent. But even there are cases in English where the T at the end goes silent. That's the same thing that happened in Hebrew. Adama turned into Adama. And the tav only comes back whenever you have something else following it. Admatam, and I will plant them on their land. Velo yinatashu. So here we've got natash to be pulled up. It's a nifal because of these three things, and they are the subject because of those two things. They will not be pulled up od anymore. Me'al admatam, from their land. Tell me more information about that land. Asher natati lahem, which I gave or have given or had given, depending on what fits the context. Lahem, to them. Lahem. Amar Adonai Elohecha. The Lord has said, which Lord? Elohecha, your God. Good. Comments? Questions? This was a short Haftarah reading. We have
Yeah.
amazingly come all the way to the end of the reading. I don't think we've ever done that before, not in the hour and a half segment. So congratulations, we got through, what is that, 7 verses, 8 maybe. Good. If anyone wants to donate to Hungry for Hebrew, here's how you can do it. Otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing you all next week, and we'll be reading the next Haftarah. Does anybody know it off the top of their head? It's not Kedoshim. It's because this week is a combined Acharei Mot Kedoshim, and so it's going to be
Acharei Mot.
Acharei Mot is this one, and
Ah.
Kedoshim is also a double portion, so it's going to be Emor. Emor. Now, the ones that I'm skipping, eventually at the end of this series, I'm just going to have to go back and do them separately. But the next reading for May the 11th will be Emor.
Ezekiel, is that it?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I don't have it in front of me. Do you?
Ezekiel 44, 15 through
44.
31.
Ezekiel
Yeah.
44,
15 through 31.
15
Yep.
through 31. That sounds right to me. I knew it was in Ezekiel. I did. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Look forward to seeing you all next week. Until then, להתראות ושלום.
להתראות, תודה רבה.
Thank you, Jared.
בבקשה,
Thank you.
להתראות.
תודה.
תודה
Bye.
רבה.
Bye, Eileen.
Nice.